Her laughter was a melody etched into my memory, a sweet reminder of days when it filled my heart with joy. It had a lightness, a musical quality that seemed capable of lifting even the heaviest burdens from my soul. But that evening, as she stepped through the front door, returning from yet another of her business trips, the laughter I once treasured had transformed. It was now sharp, careless, and devoid of warmth, as though she had left a part of herself behind, somewhere I could not reach. "Hello, darling," Emma called softly, her tone almost ethereal, yet laced with a detachment that pierced through the air. She kicked off her heels, the sound echoing in the stillness of the empty house, and tossed her purse onto a chair by the door. The comfort her voice once brought vanished in an instant when her gaze fell upon the dining room table. In that moment, her laughter faded as if a switch had been flipped. Her body stiffened, her smile disappeared, and her complexion paled. She stood frozen, fixated on the framed photograph I had intentionally placed in her line of sight. It was a snapshot from our wedding day, where Emma, radiant in her delicate lace gown, lit up the frame with her smile. I stood beside her in my navy suit, feeling like the luckiest man alive. We epitomized happiness and the hopeful essence of love. But now across the glass, bold red letters shattered that illusion. "I know." I watched her wide eyes dart between the picture and me, standing in the kitchen with my arms crossed, a mask of calmness that belied the turmoil within. "What is this?" she asked, her voice small and trembling, struggling to articulate the question. "Why don't you tell me, Emma?" I replied, my tone icy and controlled, my gaze locked on hers. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words emerged. I could see the gears turning in her mind as she grappled with the reality of what I knew, how much I knew, and the manner in which I had discovered it. The confident facade she had maintained for so long began to crumble. "Jack, I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered, her voice wavering under the weight of the moment. A bitter laugh escaped me, a sound so unfamiliar that even I struggled to recognize it. "Please, Emma, don't insult my intelligence. For months I've been watching you lie to me. The business trips, the late nights at the office, your sudden obsession with the gym. It all makes sense now." I reached for my phone, holding it up for her to see the screen. Her face crumpled as she stared at the images that had taken me weeks to compile. Each photo was a dagger to my heart, now serving as undeniable proof. Emma and her business partner Daniel, holding hands on a secluded beach, laughing together at a bar, kissing beneath the glow of a cabana. "Jack, I can explain," she began, her voice thick with desperation, but I interrupted her with a sharp glare. "Explain. Explain how you've been sneaking around with Daniel while I've been working late to pay for your yoga classes and spa trips." My voice was cold and steady. "Explain how you've lied to my face repeatedly. Tell me, Emma, are you sorry for what you've done, or just sorry you got caught?" Tears welled in her eyes as she took a hesitant step toward me. Hands raised as if an embrace could mend what had been broken. "Jack, please," she begged. "Let me explain. It's not what it looks like." I raised a hand to stop her. "No," I said firmly, my voice unwavering. "For the past 2 months, I've been gathering everything I could. Do you know why?" She didn't respond, her lips trembling as she tried to compose herself. "Because I wanted to be certain," I continued, my tone calm but laced with steel. "I needed to know that I wasn't imagining things, that I wasn't going crazy. And now that I'm certain, I've made my decision." Her tears began to flow freely, but I felt no pity, no sympathy for her plight. "I've already filed for divorce," I stated, the words slicing through the tension like a knife. "The papers are with my lawyer. You'll receive them tomorrow. I suggest you review the prenuptial agreement you signed before considering contesting it." Her face crumpled as the weight of my words sank in. She understood the implications. The agreement was airtight, crafted to protect my family's legacy. She would leave with nothing more than what she entered the marriage with. "You don't have to do this, Jack," she whispered, her voice barely audible in a last-ditch effort to appeal to my emotions. "I do," I replied, my voice devoid of emotion. "And there's one more thing. I've already informed Daniel's wife." The impact of my words struck her like a physical blow. Her mouth opened and closed, but no sound emerged. "Oh, don't worry," I added bitterly. She was very understanding. In fact, she even shared some pictures of her own. Her sobs grew louder, but I felt nothing but a hollow ache. There was no turning back now. This was the end. I had observed her closely for quite some time, and deep down, I had sensed that her betrayal was gnawing at me. When I finally confronted her, she broke down, her face twisted with guilt and regret, but I remained resolute, continuing with my plan. I reached into a drawer and pulled out a thick folder, aware of the weight of what it contained. I held it up for her to see, my voice calm and almost devoid of emotion. I put all of this together. The folder was filled with text messages, images, and receipts, each piece a part of the puzzle unraveling over the past weeks. I tossed it onto the table in front of her, the papers scattering across the surface. "This will go directly to your company's human resources department if you try to contest the divorce," I added, my voice firm and unwavering. I could see panic rising in her as she grasped the gravity of the situation. I wanted her to understand the full extent of her actions. "Let's see how well they handle two of their top managers having an affair on company time and resources," I said coldly. The silence that followed was heavy. She collapsed into a chair, her head dropping into her hands as she sobbed. Observing her breakdown evoked no satisfaction. It felt almost like I was witnessing a scene from someone else's life. "I made a mistake, Jack. Please, I cherish you," she pleaded, her voice trembling. But her words held no weight for me. I let out a hollow laugh that echoed in the room. "Do you call this love? You don't love me, Emma. You love the life I built for you, the stability, the safety, the comfort I provided. But you didn't respect me. You threw it all away for what?" Her sobs grew louder, yet they did not sway me. Instead, I felt an unexpected sense of relief, as if a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying had finally been lifted. There was no anger or resentment, not even sadness or sympathy. I was simply free. I grabbed my keys, my movements deliberate. "I'll be staying at a hotel for the next few days," I said, my voice steady. "By the end of the week, I've scheduled movers to pack your things. You need to leave this house." Her tear-streaked face looked up at me, a mask of despair etched across it. "Please don't do this, Jack. We can fix this. We can go to counseling, we can work this out," she begged, desperation lacing her voice. I shook my head slowly, recognizing the flicker of hope in her eyes. She clung. "This is one of those things, Emma, that can't be fixed," I asserted firmly. There was no turning back now, no more second chances. I walked toward the door, my hand resting on the handle, then paused to turn back to her one last time. "Oh, and I've canceled the credit card for that new purse you bought during your business trip," I added sharply. "Have fun explaining that one to your lover." Without waiting for a response, I walked out the door. As I did, her cries echoed through the house, but I didn't stop or look back. I knew I couldn't allow myself to be drawn into her emotional pleas any longer. As I drove away, I experienced a strange mix of emotions. There was a deep sense of rage and betrayal, the rawness of the hurt still fresh. Yet beneath it all was a profound sense of liberation. For years, I had worked to build a life with someone who didn't appreciate it, someone who didn't value me the way I valued her. Now that life was over, but in its place was the possibility of something new. I was free to start over, to seek someone who would truly appreciate me for who I was, not just for the life I provided. The following morning, while at the hotel, my phone buzzed with a message from Daniel's wife. The text was simple but spoke volumes. "I appreciate you telling me. I'm also leaving him. We deserve better." Her words resonated deeply. She was right, we both deserved better. As I gazed out the hotel window at the rising sun, I realized that the collapse of my marriage didn't signify the end of my life. It wasn't a tragic conclusion. Instead, it marked the beginning of something new, something fresh. For the first time in months, I felt hope stirring within me. There was a world out there full of possibilities, and I was ready to embrace it.